In a world full of challenges, there are incredible people making a difference, one cause at a time. KFGO For A Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. KFGO For A Cause shines a spotlight on organizations and individuals dedicated to positive change.
This is KFGO For A Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. Every Sunday morning at 6 a.m., we meet here to meet the incredible people making a difference in our community and our region. I'm Amy Eiler. He's JJ Gordon. You usually hear us weekdays from 11 to 2, but then we get together, on the weekends every once in a while, too.
I think I figured out why this show is at the time it is on Sunday. It's because our guests are so busy, making such a huge impact. This is the only time that we could find a break in their schedule.
I mean, honestly, that is for real.
There's some real truth there.
There's some real truth there.
It was this or midnight.
It's like the Midnight Moms Club that I wanted to start. And I was like, all of us are too busy to get together during the day. We should have a midnight club where we sneak out where everyone else is sleeping and get together. But then we'd never go to sleep. And so that's a problem.
Those are the tough times. Let's
get to the people that are really making a difference. Kassie Emanuel is with us. We wanted to talk about Meals on Wheels and Valley Senior Services and the impact they're making on our community. Kassie, welcome to KFGO Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, is Meals on Wheels, is it an extension of Valley Senior Services? Is it just one of the things that Valley Senior Services does?
Yeah, great question. It is one of the things that we are best known for, but it is just one piece of what we do here in the community.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. Who is Valley Senior Services and what are you providing?
Awesome. So Valley Senior Services serves folks who are 60 and over. We have 3 core services that we provide. We have the nutrition program. Now that includes Meals on Wheels, and it also includes the congregate dining program where people can come and have a meal in a social setting in the community. We also provide transportation, affordable transportation in the metro area and also in the rural communities. So help folks to get to important appointments and to, just get around. And then we also have what we call resource services. Here in Cass County, we have 6 resource specialists that will go out and meet with seniors living in the community or their families and just talk with them about the programs that we offer, but also to meet with them and identify other needs or other services that they may benefit from. And then we are able to connect them with other agencies and other community resources that will help keep them independent in their own home. And I should mention Valley Senior Services, that is our mission, is to keep folks living independently in the home as long as possible.
Yeah, I think that I think many people are surprised at how much you do. I mean, Meals on Wheels is sort of the big one, right? And maybe because it takes so many volunteers. That's why so many people know about it. I mean, how many volunteers are needed to make that piece of your program work?
Oh, great question. Just here in Fargo and West Fargo, we have about 54 routes every day, Monday through Friday. So that means we need 54 volunteers who are willing to deliver those meals to people's homes. So it's a big job. We definitely could not do it without the support of our awesome volunteers in the community.
Where do you get the food?
Oh, great question. In Fargo, we do contract with Concordia Dining Services to provide a large amount of the meals. We also have a smaller kitchen in West Fargo that we have cooks on site. The really incredible thing is we don't just serve Cass County. We serve the region that includes 6 total counties. And we have numerous smaller sites in some of those smaller towns, smaller communities. We also contract with a couple local cafes to provide senior meals, which is really awesome. Yes.
That's cool. I love that. I had no idea. And I mean, the idea is that you want to get these warm meals while they're still warm to these people. And so making sure that these routes happen, and you do it over the noon hour. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct. We have a lot of folks that even do it on their lunch break.
Yeah. And I mean, we're on the air at that time, but you can tune in and listen to us while you're delivering meals. I love that idea.
I'm curious, is Meals on Wheels a national program that like this is our local chapter of it?
Yes, there are Meals on Wheels, home-delivered meals available throughout the country. Each state and each community may run them slightly differently, but the idea is all the same. It's providing nutritious meals to, primarily homebound seniors. So, yes, we hold the contract for this region. And I must say we're very fortunate in the sense that many other Meals on Wheels organizations throughout the country have extensive waiting lists, some over a year or two long. And I guess I just want to mention that we are so fortunate in this community that we don't have to have people waiting for services on waiting lists or anything.
I think the thing that we don't talk about, but anyone who delivers Meals on Wheels will tell you this, that you are not out there as a companion, but you are maybe the only person that interacts with this individual on a regular basis or even on like a 24-hour basis. And how important that is. I know I won't name names, but we have a frequent listener who's been a guest a couple times, and he delivers Meals on Wheels. And he goes, not only is this the most fulfilling thing that's ever happened in my life, but I've actually made friends with these people I'm providing a meal to, and it's exactly for that reason, so they can stay in their home. They've got someone else who can help them, but the fact of the matter is they need help getting a nutritious meal. We all could eat something that isn't good for us, but that's the beauty, is these are nutritious meals that really fill the cup.
Yes, and I think you bring up such a good point. Of course, the main goal is to get them that nutritious, healthy meal. But it really goes so much beyond just a meal. It really is about human connection as well. Like you said, that volunteer might be the only person they talk to for a few days. And it also does serve as a little bit of a safety net. Our volunteers are very mindful of the recipients that they deliver to. And if there's, we've had incidents where people have fallen or, just have been having a health emergency, and because our volunteers were just there, just dropping off a meal, but were able to call us, we could make contact with that individual's family. So just to highlight that it really does go beyond just that meal.
Yeah.
Do you always need volunteers?
Always. We can always benefit from more volunteers. We are fortunate that we do have a very solid volunteer base. However, we always have a need for more. And seasonally especially, it seems that both between those that go away as snowbirds in the winter, but then also in the spring and summer, we have a lot of volunteers that really would like to get to the lakes on a more regular basis.
Sure.
So just keep that in mind. Whatever, time of year, we always need more help.
Meals on Wheels, radio people should be delivering Meals on Wheels, because we know what it's like to say, it doesn't end. It doesn't stop, right? So there's a giant blizzard out there and they close down the entire town. KFGO is still broadcasting. Yeah. Amy and I got here. Amy's been picked up by snowplows before, right?
Yes. And we've been brought in to work on snowmobiles in the past.
And I know
Thankfully, we haven't had winters like that recently.
Yeah, knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
I know one of the interesting things, too, is there's some pre-planning that actually takes place, because Meals on Wheels is a national program, but as you said, each state can kind of handle it differently. We have blizzards, we have things like that. We sometimes have, natural disasters that keep us from being able to get there. And I know that there's part of the program where you could maybe bring like 2 meals if you thought, oh gosh, no one's going to be able to get out here. So you don't have someone who's sitting and not being able to eat anything.
Absolutely. That was one of our big goals this last year, was just to kind of be proactive and get out ahead of the weather. So we did identify those individuals that would like to have a couple extra frozen shelf-stable meals that they could have on hand in case they get snowed in, their loved ones can't get to them, and in the event that we have to cancel services due to inclement weather. We are also so fortunate to work with other great agencies within the area. We recently partnered with the Great Plains Food Bank. So along with those frozen meals that we distributed to our seniors, they also got what they call a blizzard bag. So some really nutritious, shelf-stable items that we were able to get out to them as well, just to give those folks a little extra security during the winter months.
You're listening to KFGO For A Cause. Amy Eiler, JJ Gordon, hosts of It Takes Two, weekdays from 11 to 2, but joining you on KFGO For A Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. We're chatting with Kassie Emanuel, and when we come back, more about Meals on Wheels and Valley Senior Services here on KFGO. This is KFGO For A Cause here on Sunday mornings on KFGO. Amy Eiler and JJ Gordon joining you this morning. This KFGO For A Cause is brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. We're chatting with Kassie Emanuel from Valley Senior Services. We did a deep dive into Meals on Wheels here in the first half. And if you miss any of KFGO For A Cause, you can find it podcast at kfgo.com. But let's talk a little bit more about the other nutrition programs you have, because if someone is listening and maybe they themselves are interested in Meals on Wheels or they want to volunteer, but maybe it just that human connection piece that you're talking about is even more important to them. You have spaces where they can have a congregate meal. Can we talk about that?
Yes, we have some great meal sites throughout the area where folks 60 and over and their spouse, regardless of age, can come in and have a nutritious meal in more of a social setting. So they can come in and enjoy that meal, but also get that human connection as well, make new friends. We do have activities going on often throughout the week as well. So that's a really great option for folks that are still wanting to be active and be getting out and
And
about.
is that on at your site on 32nd Avenue?
Yes, yep, that's one of our most popular congregate dining locations.
Okay, so, and we should say this, Valley Senior Services in the Dr. James Carlson Library. So if you walk into the library, if you go to the left, it's Valley Senior Services. If you go to the right, it's the library. That's one of your most popular sites. Do you have more than one site?
Yeah, we kind of have locations throughout town. We do have another site on North Broadway, so it's called Broadway Station on the north side. The West Fargo High Rise serves folks in West Fargo. And then we do have multiple sites throughout other housing complexes through the area.
Sure.
I would say those are probably the three easiest to get to and some of the best attended.
Let me ask the question that no one wants to ask, but I'm going to.
Okay.
What is everyone's favorite meal?
Oh my gosh, this is controversial.
I know. Listen, you're going to get asked the tough questions on KFGO For A Cause, because I know some people who have been the beneficiaries of Meals on Wheels who tell me, like, oh, when it's such and such day, that's the best day.
Okay, is Concordia doing your meals at the congregate areas too? And do you have to? Okay, we're going to get to your question, JJ. I'm not skipping it, but I'm letting.
Don't sandbag me over here.
I'm not. I'm going to give her a minute to think about it. Are those meals? Is Concordia catering those meals? And do you have to tell Valley Senior Services in advance of coming, or can you just show up? What is that like?
Really great question. So yes, it's very easy to get signed up the first day. We just ask that you fill out a registration form with some basic information to get registered. And we just ask that you sign up at least the day before by noon with that congregate dining site. However, they have sign-up sheets for the whole month. Some people like to pick and choose their favorite meals and might skip the ones that they don't want to sign up for. And you can also sign up not only physically there at the site, but you can also call each location and reserve a meal that way, so you don't have to make a trip just to get signed up.
Sure. Okay, so now you've had some time to think. What's the favorite?
You know, I think that us good Midwestern folks, I would say anything with the meat, gravy, potatoes is always going to be a hit.
I was going to say meatballs is the one that I heard that people are like, meatballs, yeah.
Now that you say that, yes, you are absolutely right. The meatballs always are a popular one. They do a really great meatloaf. They do cabbage rolls, which is not everyone's favorite, but for folks that grew up eating that, it's just such a nice kind of throwback to maybe their
Keep talking, Kassie.
years.
You're hitting the right audience here.
Are we getting hungry yet?
Amy, I want to kind of put something in perspective, right? So 60 years old when I was a much younger man seemed like an eternity away. That is only 19 years away from my age right now. And so knowing that that's available for people, like when they hit 60, that is a huge benefit to being in a community like ours that has something like Valley Senior Services. And not only that, but if you go to the congregate meals and you're talking to someone, they say, yeah, I was just talking with so-and-so with Valley Senior Services. Did you know that there is this type of service to help us here?
Yeah.
Things that they'd never know. I don't want to speak that language. I'm glad that you do, so that you can explain the ins and outs to these people as well.
Well, and let's talk about being 60, because we mentioned something on the break that it's not just for people who are retired. There are you serve a lot of people who are still working. And if they don't necessarily need Meals on Wheels, but they've had a busy, long day working, they can take a meal to go at your congregate meals as well, right?
Yes, that's absolutely true. And that has just been such a good fit for a lot of our participants. Because like you said, a lot of them might still be working, or they're active during the day. They might be watching grandchildren, or maybe they're just not the type that want to come in and sit in a meal site in a senior center, and that's okay too. They can still come in and get that nutritious, healthy meal and just take it to go and get on with their day.
Kassie, do you think a fair number of your volunteers are people who they themselves are eligible for this program?
Yes. We are so fortunate. We have a lot of great retired volunteers.
That's so cool. That's
cool.
awesome.
I love that. Okay, Meals on Wheels, congregate meals. We've talked a lot about your nutrition program. What are some of the other programs that you love telling people about, you wish they knew about, that when they come into your site? Also, is puzzling a thing? Because every time I go to the library, I feel like there's puzzling going on over there.
Yes. Yep. The puzzles are very popular.
Okay.
Most definitely. So let's see, as far as our agency, I do still think our transportation service is a bit of a well-kept secret. Here in Fargo, West Fargo, and Moorhead, you can actually get a one-way ride anywhere for just $3. So a round trip to, say, go to a medical appointment and come home is $6. So not free, but gosh, a lot cheaper than an Uber or a cab service.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you have someone, who's going to pick you up and drop you off right at the door. You don't have to worry about any of the parking. And I would say $6 for a round trip is pretty dang good.
Yes, and the drive. I have to just give a shout out to those drivers with the senior ride service, because they are just awesome. They are so great to get a ride with. So, yes, I'd encourage anyone to check that out if you haven't yet.
And how do they do that? If someone's listening, maybe they want to be a volunteer to drive, or maybe they need that ride. How do they get in touch with you guys?
If you're interested in being a volunteer delivery driver, you can visit us at valleyseniorservices.org and look under volunteer opportunities, or you can reach us at our Fargo office. 701-293-1440 is that number.
Got it. 293-1440. And okay, let's talk about this. Do you need donations? Are you a place that takes donations? I mean, I know you're getting funding from a lot of different sources, but there has to be an individual donation piece to it, right?
Absolutely. So you are correct. We do get some federal funds. We do get some state funds, and even a little bit of local funds that help to support this program. The really incredible thing about the senior nutrition program, so Meals on Wheels, congregate, or takeout meals, is it's a suggested donation. No one is turned away for an inability to pay or an unwillingness to pay for the meal. We have a suggested donation of $4 per meal for our participants. But I can tell you, throughout our whole region, individual participant contributions are down. They're kind of at an all-time low, to be honest. And I do think that is a bit of a reflection of the times that, groceries are more expensive, utilities are more expensive. So I do think our seniors feel that. So all of that to say, we absolutely benefit from individual or private donations. That funding is just used, it goes right back into the nutrition program, used to improve and expand that program. So, while we're fortunate that we do have some, healthy revenue streams, we are serving more folks than we ever have, and it is more expensive to run this program than it ever has been. And the state and federal funding, it just does not keep up with the true costs of it. Mm-hmm. So we always appreciate and really can benefit from receiving additional donations.
Can they give to you on your website?
Yes, yep, you can donate right online, right on our website.
Okay.
There's a donate tab right at the top of valleySeniorServices.org.
Okay, I love that. And I wanted to make that point because it's expensive to do all the work that you're doing. And it just, and I know that you don't have like a super robust staff. Right?
Yes.
How many of you are there making all of these programs go?
Well, honestly, it is a fairly small group of full-time staff. However, we have a lot of part-timers as well, part-time transportation drivers, part-time cooks, and meal site attendants.
Amazing.
So I believe it's upward of 100 people that we actually employ in some capacity.
And
well,
then
no wonder you have two Cassies then.
Well-
Double Cassies going on.
But then how many people are you serving?
Oh, yeah. Close, gosh, just in the Cass County area, 1,000 a day.
Yeah.
So that doesn't
Wow.
even include the full 6 counties that we serve. So
1,000
making
a day.
Yeah, we're making it's really astonishing the impact that we get to make, what we get to do.
Absolutely. ValleySeniorServices.org. Again, Kassie Emanuel, thank you so much for enlightening us on all the work that you're doing in our community. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.